This is a product video for CheetahPPF. CheetahPPF is a high-quality polyurethane film that provides maximum protection for your vehicle. CheetahPPF has a clear, permanent adhesive, is extremely flexible with an elongation up to 190%, and at room temperature it'll conform back to its original shape. Is extremely durable, which means full protection against rock chips and scratches. To apply, you can use either a slip solution or gel. Be sure to use a nick-free PPF squeegee and avoid keeping the squeegee at a low angle. Instead, peak the squeegee at a high angle, then overlap the squeegee strokes. Work the slip or gel solution out towards the edges. Once applied, the CheetahPPF will adhere to the surface for proper hold and performance. Note that the top layer has a special coating that makes it very hydrophobic as well as have self-healing properties. If scratches do occur, they will go away when heat is added. For prepping a vehicle, the first step is to steam or flush out the edges. Next, clean the main surface area. Pour a rinseless wash solution in a large cleaning bucket and evenly mix it. Soak a chenille mitt in the cleaning solution and then wipe down the vehicle. Once the vehicle is clean, soak up the moisture with a drying towel. The next step is to use a clay bar scrubber to make the surface optimally smooth. Clay bar each section that is being applied with CheetahPPF, then remove the excess moisture. The final step is to wipe down the surface with isopropyl alcohol 70%, focus on the edges, and if wrapping all the corners fully, it's recommended to put a small amount of adhesive promoter on each corner. If working in a warm workspace, it's recommended to put a coat of S on the surface before install. This will help avoid any silvering. And the final step is to degrease the edges and recessed areas after applying S. Using templates with CheetahPPF is a very good choice, as this can save a lot of time during the install and avoid having to use a knife directly on the body of the vehicle. DigiCut is an excellent program that has a wide range of precise fitting templates. Make sure the blade on the plotter is sharp and calibrated to the thickness of the CheetahPPF during this process. CheetahPPF can also be installed bulk style, so be sure to measure the section, trim it on a cutting table, and for large sections like the hood, use a backing paper cutter on the liner to help with install flow. We'll first begin with tips and tricks for bulk style installs. Spray the surface is about to be applied, then spray the adhesive as the liner is removed. It's recommended with large sections like this, use 2 installers. Place the CheetahPPF on the section being applied. Make sure it's even, top to bottom, left to right. Dry an outside section, then release the outside liner. And because the adhesive is dry here, it'll hold onto the body. This makes the install much easier and more focused. Once the material is set on the outside, shake the material at the front to glass the film out or create no wrinkles. Once everything's set, trim any excess film that might hold the material from relaxing onto the surface, like here at the top of the hood. Spray the slip or gel solution one more time underneath the CheetahPPF and evenly spread it out, especially in recessed areas. Spray the surface with the slip or gel solution, then apply the film in sections with firm, overlapping squeegee strokes. Pick the film up when necessary to apply more slip and gel, and form the film into deep recessed areas to avoid tension. Once the material is on the main surface area, then it's time to trim away the excess film roughly 1 to 2 inches. Once all the excess film is trimmed away from the edges now, focus on the corners. For a hood like this, focus on the top corners first, and the reason why is the hood has to be opened. Now, with the hood open, flush the outside edges with a tack solution. This can be a mix of light alcohol and water or straight distilled water. To seal the CheetahPPF on the underside, you can let it air dry at room temperature, or you can speed up the process by putting a heat gun at a low setting and doing a 360. Once the edges are fully dry, now it's time to trim the excess film. It's best first to start with the corners. Once all the corners are trimmed, then the film can be relaxed around the edges. Use a squeegee to make sure there's a tight seal. Cut the material roughly a ½ inch on the outside edge. Then once everything's set, heat the corners so they lay nice and flat, then form the CheetahPPF in stages around the outside edge to the underside using an application glove. Now we move on to tips and tricks for applying CheetahPPF with templates. Always work from a cutting table or a peel board. Cut the material up into sections based on what is being applied. Remove the liner, in this case on a peel board, and spray the adhesive immediately. Thoroughly spray the section that's about to be applied, then carefully bring the piece over to the vehicle, place it on, and even out the tension. It's best to start at one point, make sure the edges line up perfectly, and then lock it on with firm overlapping squeegee strokes, then work from corner to corner. To make sure the material holds its position, spray the flat section with a tack solution so it holds extra strong. This step is extra recommended, especially when applying sections that have curves. Once everything's set on one side, now the material can be pulled evenly towards the other side. And with templates, it's very important to make sure the edges line up. So be sure to set one side up, then pull the material evenly to the other side, and with great templates from DigiCut, all the tension in the middle area will line up perfectly. Use firm, short, overlapping squeegee strokes. Spray slip or gel solution when necessary if the film seems to be tacking too soon to the surface. Then once the material is applied, flush the edges with a tack solution, wipe down the main surface area, and let any edges air dry or speed up the process with a heat gun. Then form the material around the edge with an application glove. The final step for any panel is to spray it down with an aftercare solution, in this case SS, which removes any handprints and puts a nice coating on for long-term protection. For more information and where to purchase CheetahPPF, go to CheetahRep.com and be sure to follow CheetahRep on these social media outlets. This has been a product video for CheetahPPF, proudly produced by the Rep Institute.